also is catching up in the in urban areas, but then again also it depends with the size of land. Yes. Because there are very many practicalities about the bungalow, because also it also suits people at different ages. Yes. So I think as we continue this conversation, we'll be able to explain to you the age group that is fit for bungalows, and then the advantages and disadvantages of the same. The particular size suitable for bungalows, but in a case whereby like you get a plot of 40 by 60, I would advise you not to do a bungalow, because again the space that it will take will be more than the land. But then again, if you have a plot which is from 50 by 100, you can be able to achieve a good bungalow with let's say a minimum of 3 bedrooms, and then again maybe you want to do what you call a garden kitchen. Yes. So mostly we advise people who have land between an eighth to a quarter to do bungalows. Yeah.
All right, so we have now acquired our piece of land, or our parcel of land, or a plot for that matter. Are there different designs of bungalows that one can consider, or are there different ways you can do a bungalow so that our viewers have a variety to choose from?
Yes, I would say in construction there are very many designs for any kind of concept of a house. Like in bungalows, I would say there are thousands and thousands of designs. Wow. What matters is the overall outlook of the bungalow. Yes. The kind of entry porch you'd want, and then mostly what people look at are the pitches. Because this concept has very many pitches. You can do a 45-degree pitch, you can do a 35-degree pitch, and the lowest degree you can do is like 18 degrees pitch. So most people look at the pitch, and then also the outlay of the bungalow. Because also depending on the setup and the location where you want to build your house, there are also those factors you need to consider. Another thing is the balconies, because you see people have known bungalows not to have balconies. Yeah. But if you see even the house behind us, we have been able to conceptualize a design that has bungalows where people even can sit down and relax.
We'll definitely get to see the balcony in this particular house later on, but there is a word that you have mentioned that might not be familiar with most of our viewers. The pitch, as you have said it. Can you tell us in a layman's language what exactly it means when it comes to designing a bungalow? The pitch is the roof pitch. There are some houses that when you walk around you see they have a very sharp roofing, and then also there are some that have what we call like the Scottish design, whereby the roof is so the pitch is very low. This factor also is also dependent on the kind of roofing sheet that you're going to use, because let's say when you're using the normal mabati, the iron sheets, you can do any kind of pitch. But then again, there is a new concept like doing what you call decra, or doing what you call stone coated roofing. The pitch has to be high because of the flow of water, because they are stone coated, so the flow of water will not be sharp if you don't do a sharp pitch. And then also there is another concept which you call like versatile, elegant, and oriental kind of roofing sheet. So those ones are a bit dynamic. You can be able to achieve either a low pitch or high pitch. But somebody who is doing a bungalow with a stone coated roofing materials, or even the clay works, the old clay works, we advise you to do something which is not less than 38 degrees for the same. Can we say that the roofing of a house to some extent determines the outlook or the way we see a house?
Definitely. The roof pitch and even the roof design, it can make your house to look good, or maybe to look a normal house. So what Kenyans are doing currently, they are trying to compete on the concept of the way they roof their houses. If you have seen around, there are very many designs that have come up, and you can also you can Google those designs and you see them. So people are trying to capitalize on the designs of the roofing to make their houses unique.
There's one particular design when it comes to the roofing that has caught my attention, and I'm sure most of our viewers have come across it, whereby we don't actually get to see the roofing of the house, and yet this is a grounded house, or rather it's not a story building or a mansion. You cannot ideally see the roof, but it's sort of flat or hidden. Would you kindly tell us more about this particular design and why it's becoming so popular?
Is favorable. What is happening, that what we call hidden roof. So from one side you cannot be able to see the roof, but once you get maybe on top of that house, you can be able to see the roof. Exactly. The only advantage is I would say the aesthetics of the house. It makes the house look very beautiful, but then again it has to be done by an expert, because just in case you have maybe leakages and other issues with the roofing, now it becomes a problem. Another thing is when you want to achieve that kind of roof, you also have now to raise the size of your house, because mostly the houses that we do from 10 to 11 courses. That is a normal construction standard. But then again, now for you to achieve a hidden roof on a bungalow, the house has to go between 12 to 13 courses, so that you can be able to achieve like a 15-degree pitch on the top roof, and then you hide the roof.
Let's talk about the materials used in constructing a house, in this case a bungalow.
what are the most common or favorites of these materials, and are they available locally for one to get them?
Currently we have quite a number of options for construction materials, but then I would say like 95% of Kenyans they use the conventional way of stones and bricks, and then again there is a new technology of what we call the APS, which are prefabricated bolts that you can be able to achieve your house within the shortest time possible. But then again also there is also the concept of even containers. People are coming up with designs whereby you can do containers to put up your house. But I would advise, if you want to build something permanent, something long lasting, it is better to do the normal conventional way of using either machine cut stones or quarry stones, or if you're able to get like bricks. They are very good bricks, good quality bricks that can be able to help you achieve the concept of the house.
Now, in terms of costs, when you look at these different materials that are available, which of them would you say is most cost effective or most affordable?
I would say for affordability and the concept of cost, what is happening, there are two factors that people are not aware of, and people need information on the same. If you do house with the new technology, like let's say you're doing the EPS, the only thing that you do is you beat time, but not the cost. Now, if you do the house with the normal construction processes, if let's say like this house, a bungalow, we do them within 4 months, maximum of 5 months. But then again, when you use now this new technology of doing the EPS and the panels, you can achieve that house within 2 months. But then there are some factors that remain constant, because the foundation of the house has to be done the way it should be done, and then also there is the rim beam and the roofing and the finishes. So the only thing that I've seen, because out of experience and out of doing a lot of houses within Kenya, the only thing that I've seen is time. You beat time versus it's time versus cost. So you find there are people who say that you can save 20% if you use the new technology, but then from experience we can tell you for a fact you cannot save 20%
from your vast experience.
Yes, from the vast experience. So I would advise you, if you're able to get local materials like stones and bricks, go for them.
Would you, from your experience in the industry, term the bungalow as a favorite design for most builders?
Yes, bungalow is a favorite design. I would say that is when I was talking about the age bracket, because if you come to my office and maybe you're like 60 years, 65 years, you're 55 years, mostly those old people, we would advise them and we prefer them to do bungalows, because they're able to walk within the house easily. There are no stairs.
You don't want an old man going up the stairs
not wanting, but you see, depending on the age, the age group. So bungalows are very practical for such kind of people. People who really live with disability as well. Also, they are very practical to have bungalows. And then also, when you have good size of land, bungalows are very good. Let's say you have like half an acre, you have a quarter an acre, you can be able to do a very nice bungalow. So another factor is the size of the land, as I said earlier. So I would advise somebody who want to do a bungalow, you check on those factors. Then again, also it also depends with the taste and preferences of the client, because there are people who love, they love bungalows. There are people who say that if I'm not in a mansion, I don't find like I own a home. So it also depends with the personal preference.
Right.
Yes, and then again, another thing, there is also a myth that when you do a bungalow, when you do a mansion, you pay twice as a bungalow, which is I would say is a common myth. So I would say any kind of concept of the house, you need to sit down with professionals, and then they can be able to guide you on the costing.
One of the things that Kenyans and most people who want to put up a house are oblivious to is the fact that they tend to avoid using professionals when it comes to construction. Is this something you would tell them to look into, considering that they tend to avoid these particular costs? Is it something one should really consider when putting up his building?
Yes, I would say there's also another myth that we need to bust. People fear professionalism because of cost. But I would say where we are today, we have a lot of professionals in different fields in construction, and the fees that they charge, if you sit down with an architect, you sit down with an engineer, you sit down with a QS, how do you negotiate? They can be able to come to your level. Because the challenge is people think when you involve consultants, is now you're in the level of like the government project. So even these common mwananchi, they can be able to afford those guys, and it's very important to work with that team. Like now in our company, what we do, we have a team of all those professionals, so they can be able to take our clients through. Because construction is like a train. It needs a lot of cabins to make it work. So you need an architect to do for you the layout of the plan. Maybe if you need a structural engineer, maybe for you to do what you call the structural drawing. You need a QS who is able now to give you the cost details of that project.
And then again also there is also another course that has come in called construction management. The people have done construction management. Somebody who's done construction management touches a little bit of architecture, a little bit of engineering, a little bit of QS. So they're able to manage your project well. So once you involve that team, at the end of the day, you get a very good project rather than now using the Juakari ways of handling things.
So in short, there's a one-stop shop for all the professionals that are needed to ensure that your construction comes up.
Case in Pacific, we usually have one-stop shop for all construction needs because also when you engage professionals, there are some credentials that are needed by the county government for them to approve the drawing.
TV47, the home of untold stories.
Mayfair Insurance Company Limited. Our vision is to be distinguished as a reliable and innovative Pan-African financial services leader. Our mission is to provide financial security through reliable and innovative insurance solutions. Our core values are integrity, professionalism, reliability, and respect. Our global credit rating is A+ in financial strength. Our group has operations in Kenya, Zambia, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, and DR Congo. Our products include construction and engineering, marine cargo hull, domestic package, burglary, contractors all risk, cash in transit, motor private or motor commercial, fire and perils. Mayfair Insurance is trusted by corporates and SMEs across Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. Mayfair Insurance, you are in safe hands.
At Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, we offer highly competitive courses tailor-made to suit your needs. These include certificate and diploma in theatre technology, medical engineering, nutrition and dietetics, radiography and sonography, science lab, health records, environmental health science, counseling psychology, applied biology, social work and community development, information and communication technology, among others. Register now at our Nairobi campus in Nairobi West around Nyayo National Stadium on 0700-129536. Our Juja campus next to Jomo Kenyatta University on 0700-000760. And our Kisumu campus opposite Swan Center, Oginga Odinga Street on 0703-201229. Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology.
Windsor Security Guards is established to offer tailor-made security solutions for all your security needs. Call or email us today.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
So now you have your piece of land, you've probably brought in your materials for construction, and there are some workers already starting on the work. But some strangers who identify themselves as local authorities visit your land and say, no, you shouldn't be doing this, and there is a procedure you skipped that regards to the, the control of buildings and certain requirements that are needed. Let's talk about that and give us the details of what one is supposed to do.
I would say now, going back to the point of the professionals,
yes.
Once you involve professionals, they're able to guide you on those what we call local government processes and approval processes, and even the construction bodies that you're supposed to work with. So mostly what happens for the approval process, let's say you own a land, the first step is to sit down with an architect
give him your mind, give him your ideas and everything. Once the architect puts those ideas on paper, then you agree on what you call an approximation of the budget. If you're comfortable with that budget, now the architect will do what you call a final drawing for that bungalow. Then after doing the final drawing for that bungalow, he or she will give the QS to do the costing for the same. Then after they have done everything, now they will seek approval from the various county government. Let's say when you are building in Kitengela, this comes to Kajiado County. So there are those processes that are done at Kajiado County level. So they'll take the drawing to the county government. The county government has different departments like the physical planner, the city planner, the county planner. They go through the drawing. Once they find the drawing has some issues, they do what we call notes. They can give you notes, go and revisit and go and review. Now, if the drawing meets their threshold, you are given a bill to pay for the approval process. Once you pay that bill, the second step is now to register a project with the National Construction Authority. Yes, now if you involve a local fundi, they will not know those processes. So that's why you find you start a construction, NCA comes and then they do the marking, which is very common. So registration of a project through NCA is free. Kenyans need to know that.
It's free?
It is free, but it must be registered by a professional, either an architect, an engineer or a QS. So those people must be responsible for that process of registration. Then once that is done, you go to the site. When you get the approval, they give you a few rules to follow at the site. One, you're supposed to do what you call site holding. Site holding is whereby you need to fence your site so that you can prevent people coming in and coming out from your site. And number two, you need to do what we call a site board. Site board documents the owner of the project, the professionals that are taking care of that project, and then the team that is on the site.
This is the board we normally see?
Yes, the board you normally see. Yes. So it's called the site board. And then also you need to provide your workers with maybe a sanitary where they can be able to wash their hands, and those healthy basic needs you need to provide to them. And then NCA sometimes they go around checking the quality of work, and even the county government they also go around checking the quality of work. Yeah, so it's very important for you to follow those procedures and get those documentation right from the article.
So now we have done our house with the correct paperwork in place, with the correct professionals from architect, engineers, with the correct roofing. So let's go to the inside of the house. Is there specific finishing for a bungalow, or is it up to one's intuition, or are there limitless designs?
No, I would say it is limitless. The word is limitless. Currently we have a lot of options. And then Kenyans have also gone notch higher, whereby even they can hire an interior design to design their house. So one thing that we forgot from that process is now once everything is done, you also need to find either a contractor or somebody can be able to manage your project, and then you agree on the costing. And then from there, you need also to get the light team to do that work. Construction, as I said, is a very wide field. Yes. So let nobody lie to you, can be able to do everything. Because you see, in most construction that you find, people say that the fundi that did the foundation is the one who's doing the finishes. So you need to get different teams at different stages.
So now we have discussed the entire bungalow to its full, from the outside to the inside to the finishing. Can we discuss the advantages of building a bungalow, and also the disadvantages, if there are any?
I would say I will start with there is nothing that doesn't have advantages or disadvantages. But then again, for bungalows, as I said earlier, they are very practical when you have a big space of land, and then also they are very practical for families who live with disabilities. They are also very practical for old people, and then also they are also very practical in the way that you design your house. Another advantage is collection of water. They collect a lot of water rather than doing a mash on it. There's slanting roofs, and even you see the area covered is bigger than the area covered by a mash on it. So those are some of the advantages. And then also time taken to construct them is also shorter than doing a mash on it versus a mash on it. The only disadvantage is I would say it cannot fit in a small piece of land. That's the only disadvantage that we have with bungalows. But then again, that happens mostly in urban areas. But when you go to rural areas, anybody can do a bungalow. What would be your last words or piece of advice to anybody, including our viewers, who would want to put up a bungalow? My last ones to anybody who want to put up a bungalow. First, as we said, get a professional team that can be able to guide you through the concept of the bungalow. Make sure that before you start the house, you do what you call the preliminaries, checking the topographic nature of your land to see whether it can fit. Because you see, mostly if you want to do a bungalow and you want to be in a slope area, you do a mash on it because of the foundation topographical nature of that land. And then again, also I would say, also advise somebody who would want to do bungalows, go for the current new trends, and bungalows are also nice houses.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so viewers, this has been quite a lot of information from our well-informed guest of the day, giving us a depth in look into the bungalow. And as we know it's always better for you to see it with your own eyes. So let's go and see one of the bungalows that he has to show us today.
This is our main door. These doors are important. We have a camera. The main door has a camera.
All right.
We have a very nice lock, which locks in 16 places.
Wow.
So this one is what you call security is guaranteed for the door. The door is very strong.
Okay.
This is the sitting room, the lounge, with what you call gypsum decorative works. Gypsum is a new concept in the construction industry, which has come out, like, let's say, for the last 5 years. There are boards that are made with particle components, whereby you can be able to actualize any design. They are very flexible. So people moved from the old way of doing ceilings, where they were doing with the normal boards,
The plywoods.
the plywoods and everything. Yes. Now this one is a new concept whereby the gypsum board can be able to change to any pattern. You can be able to, you can be able to model it to any kind of pattern. One, it is water resistant. Number 2 is also heat resistant. So the advantages of gypsum is water resistant and heat resistant. And then another advantage, you can be able to achieve any kind of design. As you can see in this sitting room, we have been able to do a few, box designs, curves and everything. So you can be able to customize it the way you want. So
Which is very unique. It's not a design you meet somewhere.
No. So what happens mostly, you can pick these designs even from the internet, and also when you sit with an interior designer, you can be able to design something. We have seen also gypsum boards designing even like toys. You can, it is able to work through with any kind of, any kind of design. Another thing is when you're doing the work, when you see them on ongoing construction, you fail to understand the outcome. Because they are, it's like pieces. It's like piecing together pieces of paper, because it looks like a paper with powder. So then once it is done, now there's what you call gypsum skimming. Gypsum skimming is a chemical. Is a powder that is applied on the gypsum board to make them now look white, and even to do nice finishes on the edges. This is a normal cased windows with the cased grills, because also of affordability.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they are also what you call strong, and then in case of theft and everything, the grills are very strong. Now from the lounge, we have what you call a dining area. Dining area is where people now come together to take their meals and everything. So on the dining area, we have done what we call a sink for washing hands, and then we have a concept in this house which we call the American open kitchen.
Yes.
So the dining is open to the kitchen, and then we have a common toilet for the guests. So when the guests come in, they're able now to have their area to use, which we call it a guest toilet. The master now, we call it, that is where now we call it, it's the, I would say it's the strong room for this house, where everything happens. So we have the wife and the husband, so they have to agree and then come up with their color themes and everything. But what I've seen in most cases, women win in this. We've done what we call external balconies in a bungalow, because most people don't do balconies on bungalows. As you've seen them, we have very large balconies where people can be able to relax. We have done what we call flower pot. Also sections for the house. If you look at the aesthetics of the general house, what you have done is we have mixed the machine cut stones with what we call bush almond stones to bring that that natural touch of that house. On the concept of the roofing, we have done what you call stone coated roofing, which is decorative roofing, and then also our pitches are different because the house as a concept whereby the pitches they fall from one step to the other. So if you look outside, you'll be able to capture that flow of roof. Then on the outside, what we are going to do after now the house is done and everything, we shall do what we call landscaping.
Well, dear viewers, hope you have enjoyed this particular episode whereby we focus on the bungalow, and I'm sure if you're intending to put up one, you have gained knowledge or a piece of advice on one or two areas of the same. Well, thank you so much for viewing. Make sure to stick with us and watch our next episode whereby we'll be discussing some more building technologies and more different designs right here on TV47. Make sure to follow our social media handles at It's Karanji Daniel is my Instagram handle, and follow us at TV47KE. Do have a good night.